Today we're talking about everything that's happening in this region, starting with the breaking news out of the Gaza Strip. Just yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and our Minister of Defense, Israel Katz, make some very, very bold statements about where things are going in the Gaza Strip. I don't know if people have been tracking. If you haven't been tracking, the Israeli army is taking over additional territory in the Gaza Strip, essentially opening up another corridor to filter out Hamas terrorists and to prevent movement within the Gaza Strip. It's called the Morag Corridor, military name that was used also in the past. And we're here live to talk about everything that is happening in the Gaza Strip. Then we're going to move to Iran. First of all, I want to welcome everyone who's with us on this live.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover. Happy and kosher Passover, as we say here in Israel. We're here. It's the middle of Passover. To go live and explain to you what's been happening in this region. We're on YouTube. If you want to comment, make sure to do so. We're going to be going back and forth with the questions asked by the audience during this live.
Somebody
repeatedly.
asked, where is Yair?
Yair is in the US, Tan, for those who are asking. Yair is in the US. We were just actually recording a short while ago. Chag Sameach to Shmuel David Strauss. We're going to dive straight into the content. So if you're joining us, we're live. We're going to be running live for the next half hour or so, maybe closer to 45 minutes, breaking down the incredible chain of events that's been taking place this last week in the Middle East. Starting with the Gaza Strip. In the Gaza Strip, I opened with that a second ago. In the Gaza Strip, the IDF has taken over additional space in the Morag corridor. And secondly, we've had very bold statements by our Prime Minister and our Minister of Defense saying, guys, what was before October 7th, 2023 is not going to happen again. Israel relies only on one entity for its protection, and that is Israel. We will maintain our strongholds, our forward positions in Syria, in Lebanon, and in the Gaza Strip, because no one else will prevent the next attack except for us. And that's something that's been said time and time again.
And with that, there is the Iran talks with the US for an agreement coming on, and I think it's all connected somehow now.
Yeah. I think we're experiencing, Tomel, we're experiencing the great reshifting of powers in this region. This past, we're going on what, 16 months now?
Yes.
We're at 16 months of war since October 7th, 2023. These past 16 months, we've seen every proxy fighting group in this region, with the exception of the Houthis, being crushed by the IDF. You see the factions that were in Syria, the Hezbollah, Hamas to a great degree, other factions within the Gaza Strip, even terrorism cells within Israel proper have been all crushed. Every proxy arm that the Iranians had has been removed from the table, period, full stop. And yet, we still have the Houthis, that have been launching missiles at us even, was it 4 days ago, 5 days ago?
4 days ago. Yeah, I
was on the holiday.
Yes, on the
Sunday.
holiday evening.
On the holiday evening, there was that's right, it was hosting in my house, now I remember this. And we had to run to the bomb shelter. The Houthis are still active, and then in addition to them, of course, the Iranians are still... It
happened so much, we don't remember anymore.
Yeah, we have to sort of try to place the events. By the way, if you're here with us, and you've come to this live, then make the extra step and like, share, and subscribe. We're at 2.5 million subscribers, much more than we imagined previously, if we're being honest here. And we're planning to hit 2 million by the end of this year. And we'd like you to help us get to that goal. Tomo, by the way, is the mastermind behind all of this, or much of this growth. And we're expecting to continue to grow. We feel passionate about reaching the world with the truth about what happens here in Israel. And this is the way to go about it. YouTube is an incredible platform. We're also on broadcast television, on TBN, several other networks, and on Instagram and on Facebook. But YouTube is primary for us. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We want the truth about what happens in this part of the world to hit many other people. So let's go to our first big headline as we're pivoting away from the Gaza Strip and into Iran. Here's what's been happening. We're at about 2 months now of this intense negotiation phase and almost conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran. What President Trump did when he came into office is he relaunched a campaign that he started in his previous term, which was called Maximum Pressure, a very Trump name. And he says
It's truly a maximum pressure.
it is maximum pressure. It's all the sanctions, all the financial pressure, all the military pressure, all at the same time. And they did exactly that. Immense diplomatic pressure, immense military pressure. The U.S. right now, we're talking about this just before this live. Half of the U.S. fighting force is located in the Middle East right now. There are 3 carrier groups, if I'm correct, in this area. There are B-2 bombers in the Indian Ocean. There are missile stashes and caches within Israel and many other countries. There's just an immense amount of weaponry that's been brought to this region, all with the purpose of pressuring the Iranians to give up their nuclear plan, scale back on their terrorism operations, and come to a negotiation table willing to change the way they've been operating for the majority of the last 40-something years. And we've been seeing the original or initial fruits of that change of heart that the Iranians have had. The U.S. has demanded that they negotiate directly with the Iranians. The Iranians have, to a certain degree, complied with that. The U.S. has demanded...
It felt like they completely agreed with what the Iranians say on Saturday, and then today, just now, I think stuff changed a bit.
Yeah, earlier today. So the U.S. was saying to them, look, you're going to cease all violent actions. You're going to stop completely, and then we will negotiate. And you're going to do this under pressure, under duress. The Iranians have been screaming and kicking the entire way, but at the same time, they're negotiating in 2 different levels. On the one hand, they're saying to the Americans, we're willing to negotiate with you. We're willing to enter into a direct negotiation. And at the same time, they're making threats that are more extreme than what they've done in a long time. Iran itself is saying, we will destroy Israel. We will kill Israel. Iran itself is... Yeah, they've been saying it just the other day.
Himanai Instagram X, his ex said, we're gonna eliminate Israel.
We will eliminate and destroy Israel. And look, the Iranians have been very, very, very true to their word with everything they've done. We need to take them at their word. We're in this place now where Iran is entering a direct negotiation with the U.S. And the point of this negotiation is them to give up their military nuclear program. Iran doesn't want to do that. They've been fighting tooth and nail for well over a decade at this point to prevent that from happening. But this level of pressure, what they're seeing right now by the American forces in this region, is something that has never happened before. We have, I can't overestimate how much force is here. Carrier groups, bomber squadrons. The Israeli Air Force has been training together with the American Air Force, and probably many other assets that we'll only learn of when and if an attack takes place. All of them are parked in front of Iran, and they're all waiting for Iran to make a mistake, for the negotiation to fall apart, and for the U.S. to go and bomb the Iranian nuclear facilities and probably many other facilities. And we can jump to the end of this live broadcast and say that if that event plays out, Iran's done. Iran has no chance to fight off the American army. No country has the chance of fighting off the American army, but definitely not the Iranians at this point in their financial and military history. They're not fighting them off. They're not stopping them. They're not slowing them down. What they're doing is going to be fighting for their survival. And when they do that, they're very likely to lose their grip over the Iranian people. And that's where we are today. We've been at direct negotiations. We've been at a place where the U.S. is on the threshold of attacking the Iranians. The Iranians have been threatening to attack. They've been also saying that they're willing to negotiate. And all of it has come to this sort of pressure cauldron, this pressure cooker that we're experiencing right now, where they're making threats, the Americans are making threats, everyone is making a threat. And then today, the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Abbas Araghchi, he comes out and he says this very, very blatant and rude statement. It is our right to enrich uranium and is not negotiable during the negotiations with the U.S.
Everybody need to get some uranium in his house. Everybody need to have some.
Yeah, so we're seeing this immense level of pressure on both sides. The Iranians are both scared and they're using every tactic they have to fight off the Americans. The Americans are pressuring the Iranians in a way they haven't before. And I want to say, like, this whole thing, we started with Gaza Strip and we're moving to Iran. All of this is part of this master plan where power is being reshaped and redistributed in this region. And the way that is going to play out is there's going to be one, well, this is how the US would like this to play out, one fell swoop where Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and Iran are all folded into one big agreement that also includes sort of the cherry on the top is the Iranian nuclear program. And all of that comes together, to bring down the Iranian terrorism network. Thank you, Emmanuel from South Sudan, by the way, for the shout out. All of that comes together to bring the Iranians into a place where they no longer have a military nuclear program at all. That is what everyone wants. And yet, it's a very, very tricky situation to be in.
We got $10 from
Yes, Robert
Thank
Dyer. By the way, thank you, Robert, for that donation. If you want to make a quick donation, it can be big, it can be small. On the bottom of the chat on the YouTube page, there's a icon that has two hands, two little shaking hands. It's this cute little icon. And you can press on that and make a donation to TBN Israel. By the way, that is, and we're in the studio business, that's what keeps the lights on. So please make sure to support what we're doing here. The support we've experienced in this year and a half of the war has been,
StreamYard.
yeah, it's been amazing. You want me to look at StreamYard?
Yeah. Then you will see them immediately. So we're getting something, people like your map from previous lives.
No, someone's asking, can we see a map of territories Israel is currently defending? Yes, I'm going to show this on a map without the lines. Sam, tell me when we're showing this. Who asked the question? Let me go back to it. Okay, so we're looking at the map right now. So
Hadassah Times.
we'll start with the Gaza Strip. Hadassah, thank you. So the people are asking, what are we occupying? We opened this live broadcast with the statement of, look, Israel, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, Israeli Minister of Defense, Israel Katz, they said, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
They say yesterday they were on a tour of the Gaza Strip and they say to them, hey guys, I want everyone to know
They came
that
to see the new Morag
Exactly.
crossroad.
So we have a corridor called the Morag Corridor, which is it's a road within the Gaza Strip that I traveled in the past on when I was a much younger soldier. We have a presence in the Gaza Strip. We have a presence in Syria and Lebanon. We'll go over it in a second. But here's the idea. The idea is that you can see my my mouse, Sam. So here I can see it on screen. Here's the Gaza Strip. Gaza is not one big city. It's many, many, many small population groups. You can sort of see the names of the cities pop up. And it's dissected by two main corridors currently by the IDF. One is the Netzarim corridor that runs sort of down the middle of the Gaza Strip.
Exactly in the middle.
Yeah, and the other one is the Rafah or the Philadelphia corridor, which runs down the border over here between the Gaza Strip and Egypt, Sinai Peninsula, controlled in part of the country of Egypt. There's another one now. There's northern corridors. There's external corridors, but there's additional corridors now. The idea is that it's not about controlling the land. It's about preventing Hamas. This is specifically the Netzarim corridor that runs down the middle. It's from preventing Hamas. What is that?
That's Morag. That's a new one. It's separating between Bet Hanun and...
it's an east-west corridor.
Yeah. It's between Netzarim and Philadelphia.
Yeah, so it's a corridor that runs sort of east-west, like sort of cuts through the Gaza.
Kat Khan Yunis.
Kat Khan Yunis, yeah. And the idea here is it's interesting. It's what happens in the Gaza Strip is the IDF moves population out from one part. Let's say they want to go into Khan Yunis and remove some of the Hamas terrorists there. We evacuate the population. We say, hey, everyone who's here, go south to Rafah or go north to one of the cities there, and then we'll enter this area. But when the population is moving north, we want to have a corridor that sort of funnels the people and is able to filter them, pull out the Hamas terrorists and arrest them, pull out the people carrying the weapons and arrest them. So to do that, we have these corridors across the Gaza Strip on multiple sides. Philadelphia corridor is an interesting one. That's something that Prime Minister Netanyahu has been adamant about not pulling back from since last year, beginning of last year. The reason is we've found over 100, but the estimation is there's hundreds of tunnels that cross between Rafah, which is the most southern point in the Gaza Strip, to Sinai. And again, if you've ever been to the Gaza Strip, the soil there is very, very soft. The rocks there are this like sandstone that you can pick through with hand tools. They have hundreds of tunnels. Some of them are big enough to carry trucks full of goods through, and they have done that. And because of that, the IDF occupies the Philadelphia or Rafah area to prevent those tunnels from being created again, to monitor what's going in and out. So we're doing that. We, of course, have a perimeter sort of on the eastern side of the Gaza Strip. And of course, we have a sea presence or a naval presence to prevent boats from traveling with terrorism or from Sinai into the Gaza Strip, or from different parts of the Gaza Strip to other parts of the Gaza Strip, or into Israel, which is what they did on October 7th. Now we zoom out a little more.
By the way, people just had a question: will Israel keep the land and move the Arabs out of Gaza?
I don't know to answer that.
That's a big
No,
question.
look, that's not an Israeli plan. The Israeli plan was, and this is what Prime Minister Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Katz, what does it say? Freeland. I was reading one of the comments.
Yeah.
Look, it's complicated. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Katz have said, and they said this yesterday in a very, very clear way, look, we're not withdrawing from the post that we have. And the reason we're doing that is because we can't allow this to go back to where it was before October 7th, 2023. We're going to maintain a presence in the Gaza Strip. We're going to maintain a presence in Syria and Lebanon. I'll show this in a second.
Yeah.
And the reason we're doing that is not because we want to, and not because we want to forever have, a military presence there. Our army doesn't, that's not what we desire to do. But, and this is an important but, the reason we do this is because if we don't hold the presence in there, they're going to attack. This is the simple truth. So, again, let's zoom out for a minute. Look how small this area is. Israel and Lebanon and Syria, they're these really, really close countries to each other. Yeah, it's tiny. Super sticker. Thank you thank you, Fran Marks. Keep it coming. We appreciate the love and support. Here's Israel. So we're looking at, Lebanon on the coast. Here's the border. By the way, you need to understand this to be there. The northernmost point on the coast from Israel, between Israel to Lebanon, is called Rosh Hanikra. It's a tourism attraction.
It's a beautiful
this
place.
Beautiful cave system and a tunnel that was built by the Ottomans that runs through the mountain for the Hijazi train or whatever.
Yishuv, like a small
community.
Yeah.
And we stand there and we see the Lebanese on the other side of it. Sort of like a natural border that you can see here. You can see the topography of it. Lebanon is here. We have several points going into Lebanon where it's sort of hard. Let's switch to topography. When you see the topography, it makes sense. If, let's say, we're in, this is northern Israel. We have, we're not Nahariya, the northernmost city. Let's say we go a little farther north. You have Liman. Let's say we're at Rosh Hanikra. Rosh Hanikra is this tiny community on the border. You don't want to be underneath the ridgeline. You want to be on top of the ridgeline. So in multiple points, we're not going to point them all out on a map. On multiple points,
five big in
Syria.
No, 5 big in Lebanon with tens, 20 small
points.
Yeah, small points.
Yeah, again, it's not a very large number of forces, but just to give an example, instead of being on the bottom of the ridge.
You have the new borderline. If you go out a bit, you will see the new one.
You'll see the zigzag? Interesting. I didn't know that they changed that.
We changed our map already. This one.
Well, Google changed the map. Interesting. So you can see the changes in the map already. Thank you, Toma. I didn't notice that. And what we're doing is essentially in the high spots on these mountains, in several different locations, we'll go in and we'll take over a place that is a strategic place. And if you've ever done military service, or by the way, if you've done any substantial hiking, you realize how important topography is for protection. Yair and I, several months ago with Tomer, we were in, let's go up to here. We were looking down into Metula. And we were in, I'll point it in so it pops up. We were in Manara. Okay, so here's Manara. We were in Manara. And Manara, if you look at the ridge, is this tiny, tiny community. Almost all of it was destroyed by Hezbollah.
Wow, that was unbelievable.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Almost all of it was destroyed by Hezbollah.
Photos.
And people say, well, why wouldn't you evacuate it? Because Manara's on a ridge, and everything beneath it some of it is what we call the Hula Valley, On the more northern part of, it's a direct line of fire into Kiryat Shmona, into Metula, into several other of the kibbutzim down in the valley. And if we given up on the strategic position on Manara, the Hezbollah would have been on the ridge firing down into the valley. We would have lost that entire northern part of the country. And because we were there, that community was completely destroyed because the community is there, but it prevented Hezbollah from attacking. So the IDF has learned that lesson on several places, specifically with the border with Syria. And Syria, again, is a more...
Well, in Syria, we are a couple of kilometers from Damascus.
We should be.
Yeah.
Look, again, the border, you have to see these things in your eyes to understand. The map doesn't tell the full story. And I'll explain why. You see the two lines here, these are DMZ lines, demilitarized zone lines, between the different borders, looking into Syria. In Syria, by the way, I have a family member who lives in the Golan Heights.
Thank you, Ellen, for $20.
Thank you, Ellen. You need to see this. The IDF has had these small outposts that go into Syria, these small outposts that go into Lebanon, and the most important of which is Hermon. Now where did it go?
The most beautiful mountain in Israel.
I want people to see the picture. Hermon mountain. No.
This is not Hermon.
No,
this is
wrong
Hebron.
Hermon. Wrong Hermon. Hermon region. Har Hermon. Hermon mountain. Okay. I'm going to switch to... I was just there 2-3 weeks ago. Everything was white. It was beautiful. Can you see the pictures on this? I'm just going to show people what it looks like. This is the Hermon mountain. The Hermon mountain is this absolute beautiful mountain ridge. It's the only ski resort in Israel. Now we took over the Syrian Hermon, which is higher than the Israeli Hermon. And it's important because in the past we had to keep an entire commando unit whose entire purpose was to fight off the Syrians when they try to come into Israel. And now we've just taken over that next mountain ridge. I'll go back from the images so you can see that. We've taken over the mountain ridge. Go back to maps. So you could see it. How do I super chat? You super chat by going to the live. Thank you, Fran Marks, for another donation. We already said thank you, Fran. And on the bottom of the chat, you'll see a little shaking hand icon that says, when you hover over it, it's next to the heart that's the like. It gives you the ability to make a donation. So you press the little button that says donate now and you can make a donation. Thank you, Fran, for making the donation. Thank you, everyone who's been watching. And since we're here talking your ears off, pause this video for a second, or while we're talking, share, like, and subscribe. It means a whole lot to us when you do that. It really helps get the word out to other people. It helps reach the world with the truth about what's happening in this part of the world. So let me recap. If you're joining right now, I'm Mati Shoshani. You're on the TBN Israel YouTube live. We've been talking about what started in the Gaza Strip, some dramatic events in recent days, IDF taking over additional land to protect corridors of passage within the Gaza Strip, Prime Minister Netanyahu, Minister of Defense Katz, speaking strongly about the fact that Israel would not withdraw from its outpost. And then we talked about the Iranians, how Iran has been playing very, 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 what's the expression, hardball when it comes to the negotiations with the US, and how forces are mounting in this region in a way that we've never seen before. I want to say, I don't think in my life... It's a huge
question to ask if Iran is plotting against America right now, and what's happening between Israel and the terror organization Hamas. That's the two main things that we need to go through today, and to get questions from the audience.
Yeah, so we're here to answer your questions. We're here to really give an understanding of what's happening here.
So let's go back to Hermon, because there is like millions of questions about it.
What is it saying there? Where part of the Hermon mountain ridge, or maybe it's supposed to be ridge?
Yeah, like what part?
So the Hermon mountain is a mountain system. It's the highest mountain in Israel. It's not very high in international standards, but for us it's high. It's the only ski resort in Israel. And the Syrian Hermon was higher in elevation than the Israeli one. We took over that. It's not a substantial amount of land, but from a military and intelligence, signal intelligence perspective, it's very substantial to have the highest spot in the area, and the Hermon mountain is exactly that. Is it safe to visit Israel now? Asks Fran Marks. Yes. Thank you for asking that question. And I think that might be time to segue into the next segment. Just what day is it of the week? Passover is really confusing with schedule. Let's say it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday today. Just on Thursday?
Yeah.
This last Thursday, just a day before we went into the Passover weekend, we, at this very studio, had an amazing concert with an incredible individual, Sean Feucht. He's a worship leader from the U.S., and a bunch of tourists that came to sing and praise and celebrate here in Jerusalem. It was a moment of solidarity, a moment of standing together with the people of Israel just before the holiday hits, just before the season of Passover, which is for the people of Israel a remembrance, historical remembrance of how God once and time again saves the people of Israel. We had Sean Feucht here with an incredible band of musicians here in the land, celebrating, singing, worshiping right in Jerusalem. It was a very special night for me. It was very special because we love seeing people come to this country. Fran asked this very valid question of whether or not it's safe to come to Israel now. Now is the time to come to Israel. And I have to tell you on a personal note, I love hiking, and my kids love it, sometimes less than I do, but they love it. Now is the season to be in Israel. Everything is green. We've had this really late winter, so we got some really late rains. Everything is just in full blossom. I was hiking throughout last weekend and the weekend before that.
It's funny.
I'm taking a day off tomorrow to go hiking in Samaria with my family.
People can't imagine. We are under a war on one hand. On the other hand, life goes as normal. Our country is kind of safe. Sometimes we run to bomb shelters, but most of the missiles not even getting here.
Yeah. Look, it is safe. And I think the bizarre thing is the statistics don't really tell the story. Or I should say it's the other way around. The statistics do tell the story. Even during a war, walking down the street in Israel is safer than most big cities around the world. European and American cities included, by the way. Very low levels of crime. It's very safe to travel here. Less on the roads. We're a little aggressive when it comes to driving, but aside from that, it's a beautiful country to visit. And now is the time. Now is the time to show support to Israel and come to the country. Now is the time to book a trip and come to this country. And I'd say this, if this war has taught us anything, is that everyone around the world is looking at what's happening in this part of the world and trying to figure out why is this in the headlines? Why is this happening? Why does Iran want to go to war against Israel? Come and find out for yourself. Bring your kids, bring your family, bring your wife, bring your husband. Come to Israel and see what's been happening in this country. We're a country of contradictions, of biblical fulfillment, of miracles on a daily basis, but also just a really fun country to spend time with. And if you do come, we encourage you to reach out to us and come visit us here at the studio. We love meeting people that come to the country. We love meeting our viewers in person. I think this is a good time to play out the video.
You had a great interview that day.
Yeah. So I sat down with Sean Feucht to ask him why in this time where people are afraid of coming to Israel, where we're still sort of on the brink of war with the Iranians, why come to Israel now? Why come and visit Israel? Why produce a concert in this country now? We had the pleasure of working with him and his team and a group of incredible musicians. We had a magical, spirit-filled evening here at the TBN studio. Really, really special time. And I got to sit down with Sean and just ask him a couple quick questions about why he is doing that. He's a unique individual in the sense that he's seen this part of the world inside and outside. He's seen Turkey, he's seen other countries. Thank you, Fran, for the additional donation. He's seen the ins and outs of this region. Huge support of Israel, and I think it's worth hearing the perspective of an American worship leader, an American ministry leader, as he talks about why now is the time to come to Israel. So let's watch it. In the background, it's because we're about to go live downstairs in Studio C, live from Jerusalem with my friend Sean Feucht. Is that how we pronounce the family name?
Yes, that is correct.
We were debating how. I have a friend, by the way, who's Feucht. I think it's the German original pronunciation.
Yes.
And I want to ask you, we'll get straight to the point. You came to Israel in a time where people haven't yet fully come back to this country to worship in the city of God in Jerusalem, to gather people from around Jerusalem. And people are coming from all over the country to worship with us. What is the point? Why are you doing this now?
Yeah, I mean, man, ever since I was a kid, I just had this heart for this this nation and this people. And I have had my life marked at so many different moments worshiping here. And, you know, I want people to experience, like, what's going to happen tonight, standing here, looking on the very piece of real estate that the Son of God's going to return to, looking at the old city. Just, I mean, this is epic. It's like, this is like the greatest end time worship service location in the world. And we're here, and we get the privilege now to worship and really inspire boldness.
Thank you for
to
saying
go
that.
forth across the world.
But it's not any time. And I'm saying this to make a point. It's at a time where I think the world is split in both support and fear of what's happening in this part of the world. Some people look at what's been happening in this region, and they respond with fear and concern. Oh, what will happen to me? Oh, what will happen to my nation? And some people, yourself included, look and this say, this is the hand of God. This is God's land. This is God's promise. This is what Scripture talks about. Where else would we be in the world but here now in this time?
Exactly.
And I think that's commendable. I want to hear your heart for that, because it's something people need to connect with.
I think it's really easy for people to doomsday scroll on their phone and to get overwhelmed with anxiety over what's happening in the world and the wars and rumors of wars. I mean, you know, Yeshua told us all this was going to happen. We're all going to be overwhelmed because of the increase of wickedness. The love of many will grow cold. And so there's a group of us here, a remnant tonight, in the midst of where it all is going down at the end of the age. We have our hearts on fire for Jesus, and that's why we're here. We want the world to see it. We're going to sing it loud. We're going to play it. You know, we've been writing songs for this moment. We've been worshiping. We've been preparing, fasting, praying, and we believe tonight God's going to do something really powerful.
I feel like it's a really prophetic moment.
Amen.
On multiple levels. One, Scripture tells us that in the latter days, you're going to have people from around the nations come up to the house of the Lord and come to worship with the people of Israel. And secondly, we know that the world is going to be split in its support and its feelings towards Israel. And I feel like we've seen that in the last year and a half. We've seen a split, a response that is biblical on one hand and counter-biblical on the other. And I feel, and I don't say this lightly, when I see you and many other brothers who've come to the country in this season, I feel inspired, I feel hopeful, I feel filled with trust in God's plan. Because we've seen one man and one woman after the other come to this land to say, brothers, we're here to stand with you in this time. You can't imagine how many times it's happened. And it fills us with optimism because we know people are going to stand with Israel. And not only that, the eyes of the world are on what's happening here. I feel like we're about to go live in just a few minutes here. That something substantial is going to come out of this. And two, the people around the world are watching to see and hear a sound of hope come out of this land. And that's exactly what you're doing here today with this incredible group of musicians to really proclaim faith from Jerusalem in this time. Well, thank you, Sean. And we're going to run some clips about what happened here tonight.
Awesome.
And I want to end on a hopeful note. I expect to see you here with many other people that never thought to come to Israel.
Come on.
Many pastors who never talked about Israel in the months to come.
Amen.
Because of what's going to happen here tonight.
Amen.
Awesome.
Amen.
Am I on, Sam? So if you're back, I hope you enjoyed that music. There were a bunch of comments during this last segment that played saying, keep playing the music. So you can watch the entire thing on Sean Feucht's YouTube channel. Feucht, by the way, is spelled Feucht. And he has it on his YouTube channel. There's the entire show. It's several hours long, with including a lot of like live worship in English, Hebrew, just really good stuff. Make sure to check it out. It was really encouraging to see so many people come on a cold night in Jerusalem to encourage, to support, to pray, to sing in favor of what's going on in this country, for the people of Israel, for what God is doing in this land. And if you're joining us just right now, first of all, thank you for being with us. We love going live. We love hearing what people have to ask and talk about in this region. We love connecting with you guys and seeing the support and the love and the care. And if you're here, make sure to drop us a like, a share, and a subscribe, and do it in that order. Like it, share it, and subscribe it. Subscribe to this channel because it keeps us getting to other people around the world with the truth about what's happening here. You might think it doesn't make a big difference, but all you need to do is post it, put it in a WhatsApp group or a chat group or something, and more people will be exposed to what's happening here in this land. Charlotte McRae says, long live Israel and the Jewish people. Amen to that. Charlotte McRae.
Mati, maybe we'll go. I saw a lot of questions. People ask about Iran and what's going on. Do Israel gonna fight Iran? Are the US is waiting? Why they aren't ballistic missile talking in this negotiation? Why only why they don't talk about other military stuff that Iran have and can throw at us, like missiles and not just nuclear? And
because the nuclear is the deal breaker and the deal maker. We've talked about this many times. I think that one, it's a great question. Why is all the focus always on the bomb?
Yeah.
And the reason is because the bomb puts you, having nuclear capability, or in the case of Israel,
we know
the rumor of having a nuclear capability, it puts you in a league of countries that are almost untouchable.
Yeah, that's true.
There's something called MAD, mutual assured destruction. And what that is once you're in that league of countries that have nuclear capability, and you have more than one bomb, you have enough bombs with enough payloads, one on a submarine, one on a plane, one in an ICBM, whatever it is you're past that threshold where you can't be stopped. You are now guaranteed that if anyone ever attacks you, they're dead. And what I mean by that is, go back to the Cold War, the US, the former Soviet Union, they reached this agreement, and this is several governments on both sides that have these negotiations. They reach this point where they have 8,000, 13,000, warheads, crazy numbers. And they're like, there's no point in this. At this point, we're just increasing the chance of us losing one of these nukes and it ending up in the wrong hands. They scale back dramatically on the number of warheads that they have, simply because of the fact that once you're in the thousands of warheads, whatever scenario plays out, it doesn't matter what it is. Once you go nuclear, there's no going back. There is no Russia, there is no US. We live in a nuclear winter, and it sort of is this zero-sum game, which means you never use it.
Yeah.
Iran right now doesn't have a bomb. Iran can be bombed. That's an important distinction to make. Iran can be bombed. Its nuclear program can be stopped because they don't have a bomb. A bomb, again, to remind people, is three components. It's enriched uranium to the level where it is nuclear or nuclear military grade enriched uranium. Sometimes it's combination uranium and plutonium, but it doesn't matter.
They're almost there by what we know.
I feel like our camera or something's wrong with the screen. Maybe it's just the scan on it.
But
as long as the live's fine, it's all good. Anyway, so to your point, so there's three components. It's trippy. The monitor I'm looking at is scrolling. There's three components to the nuclear question. One is enriched uranium, and then sometimes plutonium as part of it. The second one is the warhead. It's taking all of that. Don't worry about it, it's fine. It's taking all of that and putting it on a warhead that is small enough where you can put it on a bomb or a delivery mechanism. There are various, we don't have to go into all the details, to detonate it. It's a chain reaction that requires a specific geometrical shape, a specific sequence of events to make this chain reaction take place. And then the third one, delivery. Everything is
Missile.
about delivery. It's a missile, it's a plane, it's a suitcase. There's something called a dirty bomb where you could drive a car that has a bomb that's the size of a big suitcase in certain cases, because there are tactical level nukes. The Russians had them that are delivered via artillery or other methods. Shaida, keep standing strong, Israel, and see what your living God is capable of. I love that message. And I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name likely. Anyway, so Tomer asked this question, why the bomb? Why are we only talking about the Iranians getting a bomb? Is because the moment they have a bomb, it's not that they're untouchable, but they're almost untouchable to the degree that is needed to stop them from using the bomb. And look, who are the Iranians? They're not the Turks, they're not the French, they're not the British. They are a radical Muslim regime who since 79, let's say 44, 45 years, has been saying one thing: we will destroy Israel, we will destroy the West, we will promote radical, violent Islam over anything else. And giving them a bomb is them being able to do that to a greater degree, to a greater scale. Additionally, they use proxy warfare to fight their wars. They don't send their own soldiers. They send mercenaries. They fuel and feed and fund proxy armies, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad,
We are
Houthis.
surrounded. Before a year ago, we were
Yeah.
really surrounded. But
A year and a half ago, we were surrounded by what the Iranians called the
ring
doctrine-
of fire.
The ring of fire, exactly. Very, very, very dangerous situation in which anytime we attacked the Iranians, we'd have missiles thrown at us or fired at us from multiple directions. That's no longer the case, which is why the Iranians are holding on to the bomb to such a great degree. Today, the Iranians have enriched uranium almost at the point of a bomb. We don't know exactly, but close enough. Let's say weeks or months away from enriching to that level. They don't have the warhead, and they do have the delivery mechanism. So they are what we call a nuclear threshold country. They're close enough to be very, very dangerous. And now is the time to take action. Now is the time for the US, for Israel, to or force them into an agreement or bomb them out of a bomb. There really are the only two options. And the fear is that we will have an agreement that won't actually prevent them from having the bomb. And this existed previously. There were multiple treaties and agreements, the last one of which the US under Trump's previous term, we just withdrew from that agreement, or they withdrew from it, saying there's no point in doing this. Let's set back the sanctions on the Iranian people, simply because they're running for a bomb. And that's a situation we're living in right now. We're at a unique time, very, very unique time. Pauline, I'll get to you in a second. Pauline from Zurich is saying, so why wait another 2 months? I'm guessing you're talking about the U.S. possibly waiting 2 more months before they attack the Iranians, or the time that's given to the negotiations.
they need to fuel all the airplanes.
Fuel the airplanes. Look, here's the big picture. The big picture is there's two courses of action, and the U.S. is calling this the maximum pressure doctrine. It's diplomatic, it's financial, it's sanctions on the one hand, and it's military on the other. And both of those sanctions are slowly crawling towards Iran. And they're coming to their doorstep, and they're saying to them, this is a chokehold on you, on your economy, on your ability to spend money to promote terrorism. And if you don't move fast enough, this chokehold is going to materialize in full military action, accompanied by sanctions, accompanied by diplomatic isolation, accompanied by us going after the people you've been selling oil to, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a very long list of things that can be done to the Iranian people. They are at a point where it's getting so uncomfortable and so scary for them that they've started responding to the American request. They're willing to suddenly go back to direct negotiations. They're willing to suddenly talk about, maybe we will give up our bomb or our thrust to a bomb. But here's what's tricky is they also have to fight an internal battle. They are a dictatorial regime that is hated by its population. They are a vile government that is violent against its own population, that the minute they give up their let's not even giving up the bomb. The minute they project weakness, it's a moment where they could lose the government altogether. The Iranian people are opposed to them. They demonstrate against them. The Iranian government has to use live fire to stop the demonstrators.
I think our inboxes are full of messages from Iranian people that writing how much they love Israel. They want that their regime in Iran will fall. And we get a lot of support that I never saw before of the war. That we get so much support from Iranian that ran away from Iran or even living and sending us presents and support
Look,
undercover names.
We've met some of them. We've met, actually, we interviewed him several times. Ramin, a good friend who's he was born a Muslim Iranian and came to faith in Christ, lives in Israel, loves Israel. You see that it gives you hope for this region. In all honesty, it really does. Ryan Pennington says, "Will Israel pause if they agree to give up 11 hostages without laying down the weapons? I don't think they should. Question, exclamation mark." So, Ryan, good question. I don't know what our government's going to do. I do know that we shouldn't stop fighting and pressuring Hamas until we get all the hostages we can get back. And this is a bit of a complicated thing to say. I'll try to explain. We're probably never going to get back all the hostages. And the reason is, this is something the IDF has said previously. One, not all of them are held by Hamas. The guesstimation is we have 59 hostages left in the Gaza Strip. That's still the number, right? 59. The estimation is 25-ish of them are alive. That's the best estimate that the Israeli government has right now. And of those, by the way, some of them were thought to be killed previously in the war or earlier in the war, then we find out that they are alive. But let's say about half of them, give or take, maybe a little less, are alive. There are people who were killed early in the war. They were killed on October 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever. And they might be lost to us. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties and unpleasant details, but we're probably never going to get all of them back. This is not my opinion. This is something that was said by the Israeli government as early as, I want to say January, February of 24.
But we just saw that Egypt tried to ask for 25 the live ones back in one deal, but and it was, from my opinion, it was a really good deal also for Hamas to get down from the tree just claimed on. But again, they said no. They said no for 2 days.
We have a problem. And here's the problem. There's two things that are happening here with Hamas. One, the pressure on them is working. Why do we know it's working?
Why?
Because this week they said, we are willing to talk about an option. This was sort of, this is a long story. Many countries have tried to negotiate with them. The last one this last week was the Egyptians. And the Egyptians say to Hamas, they say, any agreement is going to involve you being removed from the government of the Gaza Strip. And for the first time ever...
You will take down your weapons.
No, not just that.
That's what Egypt told them.
No, but Hamas says, and they used vague language, but they say we're willing to talk about an option where Hamas isn't the governing party, but they weren't talking about an external force, where they use these vague language, these vague words.
As always.
Yeah, there'll be like a regional Palestinian government that will be selected by the people and represent the Palestinian people. Something like that. But essentially what it said was Hamas will no longer be the government of Gaza. I don't know if they really meant it, but it's the first time they've ever said something like that. And at the same time, or in the same breath, Hamas turns down the Egyptian mediation offer. Not only that, let's get into their head for a second. We want every hostage back. We've interviewed multiple hostages that have been released from Hamas captivity. My heart goes out to every family. We have colleagues in our company that that have a spouse in the Gaza Strip that we know is still alive. It is painful beyond belief for these families. Painful beyond belief for the people of Israel. But our hope and our prayer is that they're all returned. Hamas has no reason to do it. That's part of the problem. They will do everything in their, again, they're a terrorist organization that is diametrically opposed to everything that the Israeli people believe in. They're against our existence in this land. They want to hurt us. They want to use violence against us. They want to terrorize us in every way they can. they don't want to release all the hostages. They want to prolong this, and they don't care about the suffering of their people.
No,
They've made it
not at all.
abundantly clear that they don't. And because of that, we know it's going to be drawn out. We know it's only going to be a very, very long process that will reach the point where Hamas really, really gives back the hostages. Bring back that last comment for a second.
People want to know about Turkey
About
and
Turkey, yeah,
Syria.
because that's a
and
really
what's
important
happening.
point. We're sort of wrapping up this.
But before
this
wrapping
live
up,
broadcast.
there is a guy want to know which gun you're taking on you.
So America First, very fitting name. Mati, by the way, is spelled with one T, but Mati, what is your personal concealed carry weapon? It is not, it's a Mossberg MC2 SC. That is a handgun I carry, and I train with it on a regular basis. Not the best in the world, but good
It's a
enough.
good one.
Good
Okay,
enough.
let's go back to
Go back to
other
the question. The previous question was about Turkey.
Yeah.
Very, very good question. No,
Where's
it wasn't that one. It was
no, this one. No, this one. No, we lost it.
anyway. What it was the question was there a deal reached between Syria and
Turkey and Israel.
Syria, Turkey, Israel? And the answer is not really, only partially. There was a negotiation that was made or was taking place, this is a week and a half ago now, between Turkey and Israel about specific bases that the Turkish Air Force wanted to have a presence in Syria.
Turkey sent people to check Syrian leftover bases, and the moment they got out of there, the IDF came and exploded them because we don't want that Turkey will put, as we know, Erdogan is talking really bad about Israel, so we didn't want any Turkish army or accessories of the Turkish army, especially not radars and air defense systems, next to our border. And with that, there was the whole story with Trump calling Erdogan and telling him, you nailed it. 2,000 years, nobody could take over Syria, and you just did it.
So I'm trying to think. Yair and I did a whole podcast about this. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Which one? Here, Turkish military. Here it is. So here, I'll just share my screen. Can I do this? Share this tab instead. Sam, I'm showing now the YouTube channel. Can you show that? Here we go. I'm on our YouTube channel. And in our YouTube channel, here's the live that we're on right now. There's a photoshopped image of me and Yair. Let's be honest here. And then if you go to past live streams, you'll see a podcast that we did 12 days ago now. I didn't realize it was that long ago. That's called Turkish military. I'm just going to move away. Turkish military deployed in Syria. And we break down for 45 minutes everything that's happening between Israel, Turkey, Syria. It's worth a watch if you want to understand. Turkey is and was and will be one of the superpowers of this region. They're on the top of the list. Between them, the Iranians, the Egyptians, the Saudis, these are like the powerhouses that make and break the Middle East. They really are. And of course, Israel's high on that list. So if you really want to go on a deeper dive of everything that's been happening, visit the YouTube channel, go to past live streams and go to Breaking Turkish Military 12 days ago. Yair and I discussed this in depth, and it really gives a lot of insight. And what's interesting is I think the same day we went live with that podcast, was it the day before maybe? We interviewed an expert on Turkey.
Yeah.
Has that aired yet?
No, we didn't air it.
Well, it's going to air soon.
It's going to air in a week, I think. It was super interesting. We're going to put the full interview.
Yeah.
It was like an hour and
So
a half.
I think we have time for
Another question, and let's wrap up.
Oh, this is tough. Robert asks, why has there not been more pressure on Qatar?
I sometimes think that Qatar is the big mess after Iran.
Yeah, we interviewed I think it was one expert on Qatar and Israel.
Yeah.
He was literally the expert on it.
He what you would call the geek on the
Yeah,
subject.
he geeked out big time, and it was very interesting. Qatar is a tiny kingdom in the Gulf. They're highly influential. They're the people behind Al Jazeera and the web of lies that it spreads. They're the people behind one of the most controversial political scandals in Israeli history, I think, that's been named Qatargate. Look it up if you want to. Qatar is spelled with a Q. Look up Qatargate. It's both interesting, scary, amusing, all at the same time. I don't even know what emotions to describe. But there's this whole thing called Qatargate that they're trying to collude with Israeli politics. They were funding things here. At the same time, they're funding Hamas. Yes, Qatar is the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah, they're connected. It's tricky. It's very complex. Look, we could talk for an hour about the Qataris. The Qataris are a force that is disruptive and also constructive in this region. You sort of just have to understand their agenda and work with them. And Israel's tried to, sometimes successfully, sometimes less successfully, but they're just a complicated player. If you're still here with us, we've been running for, I feel like it's been a long time. How long have we been running?
55 minutes.
55 minutes is long enough. So thank you for being with us. And if you haven't done so yet, like, share, and subscribe. And if you have the inclination to do so, and you want to support what we're doing here at TBN Israel, go down to the bottom of the chat, sort of bar on the side, and it says donate now. Make a donation to help support what we're doing here. Thank you, Anthony, for the support, the love. Thank you for all of you for being here with us. Remember, things at this part of the world, they move at blitz speed, and they do so every day. Sometimes it feels like the news isn't moving, but it is moving. What? Yes, thank you, Sam. Before we end, I want to tell you a little story. Where is this? I lost the segment in our script.
לא, למטה? זה. עוד טיפה למעלה? עוד?
Sorry, I had a bit of I was going blank for a minute. So a couple weeks ago, how can we donate? Go to the bottom of the YouTube channel. Usually it'll say donate, and because it's a live, go to the little handshaking hand. There's a little icon that shows this. So let me just share this screen. Here, share this tab. I'll just show people how to do it. You go back down. Now you're seeing me in a loop. Go down to the bottom of the screen. See, here it is, top chat. Go down to the bottom. Go down to the bottom of the screen. This thing over here. Top chat. Press the icon. Go down to the bottom. Go down to the bottom of the screen. This thing over here. Top chat. Press the window. Down to the donation. This thing over here. Top chat. Press the window. Down to the donation. This thing over here. Top chat. Press the window. Down to the donation. I stopped sharing because it was doing an audio loop. Are we good now? We're learning in motion over here at TBN Israel. Anyway, last week we had Sam appear on the podcast, on the live. Anyway, so that's how you make a donation. I want to tell you a little story. The sponsor for today's show is something that you need to hear about. Excuse me, the partner for today's show, today's live, is something you need to hear about. Yair and I went up a couple weeks ago, up to northern Israel, really close to the border, and we we received a beating by some of Israel's champions in kickboxing. One of them, Yulia, is a small, very feisty woman who beat me and Yair up in a hilarious
Can
way.
you show this part of your YouTube?
Yeah, let me put it on our YouTube channel. What was it called?
Just mute your computer.
The computer is muted. It plays from the window. Anyway, the YouTube is called, let me go to videos. It's called, here it is, Overcoming Persecution. 11 days ago, Israeli Arab Christian makes defiant stand for Israel. There's Yael. I'll just go, we're gonna have to watch a commercial. So I'll just show you to the title. I'll mute this. Yeah. I stopped sharing, that's right.
It was...
You can show it. Yeah, well, I can just go to StreamYard and share it. Just a second. Present. Share screen. This, share. There we go. So we're sharing this right now. Here is Yael and I. There's Yael, there's me, and here we are. Let's go straight to Yulia. She is the world champion in kickboxing. She's half my size and even less than half of Yael's size, height-wise. And she was moving at warp speed. That's Yulia. She is a star Israeli athlete. And what's interesting about her story is that she is, I'm just going to play you a clip of this. There she is on the podium. She's on the podium all the time because she wins almost every fight. She's the kind of person that represents Israel. I'd say she does more than many of our government officials in representing Israel with respect around the world. She's winning, titles time and time again, and she's doing so with the Israeli flag and giving an understanding of what it means to be an Israeli. Where's the part where she hits us? Where is it? That's earlier, sorry.
תחזור לגבעה הזו שכולם צופים בה.
Here we go. Yeah, so first she kicks me. I'm not very good at this, as you can tell. And then it's literally like I was moving in slow motion and she was moving at double speed. It was ridiculous. I couldn't even tell where her hands and arms were going. I said, this is enough. Then Yair comes in and then she does the same to him. Yair looks even worse than I did, now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, so yeah, Yulia is part of an incredible group of athletes within Israel that are all funded, backed by the Israeli Association of Non-Olympic Sports. It's called Ayelet. They're our partners for this show. They've helped make this show possible. They're the website where you can support some of these incredible men and women that are the ones who are fighting for Israel on international stages around the world. They're doing incredible work.
Watch the episode. They are going to an Arab village of Arabic Israel supporter, or Israeli Arabic, and the whole story of the place is something special.
Yeah, it was a very touching story for me.
Very much.
Very, very touching. Also, it's incredible to see like how effective these people are as ambassadors of Israel, how much they have to fight against anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic sentiment on stages around the world. And they need to be supported. There's a link on the screen right now. It's fightforisrael.org. Go visit there, make a donation, show some love to these star Israeli athletes who are, one, we're a tiny country, it's hard to support them, but two, they are on international stages around the world, including in Arab countries, waving the Israeli flag, supporting, diplomatically fighting for our country, and especially in this war, they've done some incredible diplomatic efforts in really showcasing a different, positive type of Israel. Show these young men and women some support by visiting that site. It's fightforisrael.org. Make a small donation to support them. Muslim King says, I am a proud Muslim, alhamdulillah, and I support Israel from my heart. Thank you, Muslim King. I appreciate hearing that. I think it might be time to update your thumbnail, though. I think that's all the time we have for today. If you've stuck with us so far, thank you for your patience. It's been a long day. I've been on a bit of a rant. Thank you, Tomil.
So
thank you, Sam. Thank you, Micah, for being here with us. And thank you to everyone at home that's been supporting TBN Israel and everything we're doing here. Make sure to spread the truth about what's happening in this part of the world. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to be back for the next live. And we love your questions. For all of you that have asked questions that we didn't get to, we'll try to do a podcast about it or get to it next time. Thank you and shalom from here in Jerusalem. And happy Passover, everyone.